Silent Redemption by Ellen J. Green. Performed by Angela Daw. The air was heavy with sweat and human breath. She was standing, squeezed next to 2 women and at least 3 children that she could see. There might have been more by her legs or under the seats. The bus jostled and weaved down a small winding path through palm trees and jungle brush. The dirt beneath one wheel or the other seemed to give out at times, and the bus would tip at a startling angle, then right itself and continue down the road. The heat was excruciating. More than the intense sunlight, it was like the air was filled with so much moisture that each breath coated her lungs. Her hair was wet against her scalp, the perspiration dropping from her cheeks onto her shirt. Anais looked around at the Vietnamese women near her. Dressed in their light clothing, straw hats on their head, they didn't seem to notice any of it. They were breathing, moving, talking in a language that was lovely and difficult at the same time. When she'd first arrived in Saigon, she thought it sounded like fighting cats, loud, screeching. It made her angry and frustrated. But the longer she stayed, the more it sounded like a rhythmic song, lulling the people from moment to moment. Because if they stopped singing, they'd have to look at what was happening to their country. War after war, no respite. The bus lurched, and everyone was thrown forward. Anais found herself on top of a small woman no older than she, maybe 18, 19. In turn, Tommaso had fallen on top of Anais, Filomena on top of him, and Tommaso's 3-year-old sister, Adriana, called Na, was thrown against all of them. Stacked like that for so many minutes, Anais thought she might get brain damage from heat stroke. One by one, the people righted themselves, the girl under Anais cursing her in a vulgar tone. "We're getting off the bus," Tommaso said. "I can't take any more of this." Anais and Filomena, Na's hand in hers, followed his lead, stepping down onto the muddy trail. Only later would Anais learn that he'd planned to get off at that exact stop anyway, that the whole time he acted lost, he was searching the road for the farmhouse on stilts. It was there, set back from the road, vines growing along the sides, the back filled with animal pens and farmland in the distance. "What are you doing?" Anais whispered. "Why did we get off the bus? We could have just stayed on until we reached Bonan." "We're going to ask for water, that's all," he answered. He was only 13 years old, all legs and gangly arms, dusty blonde hair and freckles across his nose, but he acted so much older. Oftentimes she forgot he was just a child. He was walking in front of her, muttering in English heavy with his Italian accent. Sometimes he tired of speaking in halting English and lapsed into his native tongue with Filomena. They were both from similar regions of Italy, and Anais, with her French, usually felt left out. The 3 of them had been plunked down in this violent corner of Asia for different reasons and had then clustered together over commonalities. Anais was a diplomat baby. Her family was always attached to one embassy or another, it didn't seem to matter where. Wealth and privilege followed. Filomena's parents had arrived in Indochina on a whim, a business venture investing in rubber, and never left. Tommaso was a different story. He'd shown up fairly late in the game. His father's occupation was cryptic, retired Italian military intelligence attached to a U.S. advisory committee. Tommaso made up details of his father's supposed importance and changed them daily. They were side by side, walking around the house. Anais followed behind the other 3. Her head was beginning to pound. Her throat hurt. Na was screaming, sweat running down her face. The sound of the child's wails felt like claws against Anais's flesh. Piercing. Endless.